What's up, everybody? Bootsy Greenwood here, and I want to talk to you a little bit about attention today. Attention. Hope you're all doing very well. If you can, check me out on Patreon. I got a bunch of extra stuff over there, and I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Thanks for your support. Please like and comment and all of that as well. So I want to talk about attention today because I've said it before, attention is all we are. And there's a couple of different ways to approach that, right? I mean, that's a big deal. Where attention goes, energy flows, right? And we know that where our attention goes, that's going into like a thought stream, right? Its own energy is being created and harnessed. And that is adding to this collection of those same thoughts. So it's very important to focus our attention and know where to focus and how to focus it. So it's like a muscle, very much so, you know, and being online a lot and being on like Facebook, I had to kind of get off of Facebook because it's very attention splitting, but that's not conscious, right? Because our attention is important. It's the most important thing that we have, that we bring to the table, right? Wherever we put that attention, we are actively growing something. It doesn't matter if it's positive. It doesn't matter if it's negative, but we are actively contributing to whatever those ideas are, right? So we want to be able to use our whole attention, but we also want to be able to split it, right? So that's the Jedi sort of mind trick, is to be able to split our attention and also to be able to use our whole attention, right? If we're doing something that's important, really, at all times, I think it's important to be mindful, right? And that's why I like meditation or some sort of breath work or some sort of yoga or something like that can really help as far as training that attention muscle, because it really is that. And it's just a little bit at a time, constantly waking up, realizing, oh, I got lost. That's cool. We always want to be the observer as much as possible, but forever and always we're going to drift, you know, back into sleep or whatever. But using our whole attention versus using fractions of it. So here's what I like to do. And this is a really cool practice, and I recommend checking it out and just being aware of it in certain environments and stuff. But I try and have an awareness center first and foremost, right? For me, that's the center of my chest. That's where I focus the majority of my attention, okay? And so this is important, I think. You need to have, in order to do this practice correctly, you need to have a foundation, a grounded attention center to start with. If your attention's just all over the place, then it's just all over the place. You're not actually controlling it. You're just picking up on a bunch of different stuff, a stimulus that's going on. So start somewhere, and it doesn't matter. That attention point can be anywhere in your body. It could be outside of your body. I recommend paying attention to your body first. You know, there were years when I was unintentionally paying attention to my breath, and I didn't even realize it. And I didn't know if it was good or not, you know, but I was rafting, and I'd be like leading a group of people, and just like, you know, every day became kind of the same, a little bit Groundhog Day. So I started paying attention to that, and it was interesting. I didn't really know what I was doing. And a few months later or so, I stumbled across like maybe Power of Now or some book like that. And then I was like, oh my God. Like, so it's a lot of the stuff we intuitively do and we don't even realize it at the time. But allow yourself to, you know, go down that road. That's really the most sacred, I think, and the most beautiful is when you discover something for yourself. But so anyway, so like I said, you start with a center of attention. Start there. And that is a place for you to ground from that fundamental place. And then you can begin to pick up on other things around you, right? And it could be anything. There's not a lot in here, but this eraser, right? Like I can literally have a part of my attention here, and then a part of it, oh no, going out on me? And then, let's see, let me get another pause on me. And then another part of my attention, you know, there at the eraser. Right? So the majority, the fundamental attention that I have in my body is in my heart. And with the rest of me, I'm paying attention to that eraser. Now, if you've ever had somebody come up on you and you were like, oh, it happens all the time, right? Like this is a constant thing. But now what consciousness is about is becoming conscious of the unconscious, right? That's the whole point of this. Becoming aware of things that you weren't aware of before. That's kind of the game that we're playing here. So all of these other things out here are thought forms, and they're swinging around like they do in the energy world, the fourth dimension, just pay attention to me, pay attention to me, just swinging around and all of that stuff. But if we can learn to start with the center of awareness and then bring things into our attention a little bit at a time, then we can decide how much we want to engage and negotiate our attention sort of with these different ideas, thought structures, things that happen to be out there. Because we know that any single one of these ideas we could become so attached to that we could lose our own identity and our own grounding. So that's why I usually start here. It's like I get excited, I get fired up. We all do, because that's what egregores or pendulums or thought forms are designed to do. They're designed to make us react positively or negatively. So if instead of getting your attention completely sucked in by this thing and then sucked in over there by this thing, if you can develop a little bit of a center, then you can pay attention to this news story over here, and it doesn't affect you in your center nearly as much, especially if you're constantly, just basically reminding yourself over and over again, okay, pay attention, inside my body, and where's that? Let's start there. And then outside, adjusting your awareness to whatever needs it in the external world, right? And that's all kinds of things, that could be news stories. It could be what's happening with your neighbor, et cetera, et cetera. But being very guarded and sort of, I would even say like greedy with our attention, very careful with it, is going to pay off big, big dividends. This has allowed me to pay attention to things that are going on a little bit better, and also not lose myself in it, right? So dividing our attention, also using all of it too. That's a good thing as well. That's a different practice. But when you intentionally put yourself into something whole, your whole mind, that creates that flow, that sort of, experience of just fluidity and non-action, as the Tao calls it, right? So it's like you're not even doing it, but you're doing it. It's like really cool. And that's another thing to keep in mind as well with our attention. But we can split it up. We can divide it. We can put a little over here. Try some exercises. Go out on a walk and just notice, what's going on around you. Listen back here. Listen over there. And then start to just play with your own attention, because that really is the power that you have. And when you start to realize that in the waking world, in the dream world, then you can start to do some pretty interesting different things. And I just wanted to share this as a fundamental place. Find that grounding spot, find your foundation of attention, and then start to focus it from there. Being very, I hate the word greedy, but careful with your attention, knowing what you're putting it to, because every single thing that you pay attention to is sucking energy from you. You can feel it, but you don't necessarily see that, right? But that's what's happening in the fourth dimension beyond the physical. And for real, that's where the cause is in the metaphysical, and the effect is just found here in the physical, right? So cultivating attention, that's a Jedi mind trick. You can pay attention to two or three different things at the same time as you begin to cultivate it. You might be in your living room and be paying attention to the lamp. You could be the lamp, and it's a really cool game to keep in mind, because you are the master of your attention, and learning to develop and cultivate that is making you more aware, which gives you more energy, more power, and then you can use that as you see fit. So just a really cool trick and tip, and I hope you guys are doing well. Check me out on Patreon. I'm going to do a live on what's really woke coming up on Sunday. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, see you next time.